Yep, I'm doing another walk and talk. This one is going to be a little bit longer because I have been pretty heads down for the past month and a half or month building OpenGraph Plus. And just real quick, what is OpenGraph Plus? It is, you can think of it as OpenGraph as infrastructure. I created this thing for myself because I had a lot of websites and I needed decent OpenGraph thumbnails. And I didn't want to spend a ton of time generating them. So if you think about it, what is a link? What is OpenGraph? OpenGraph is an image representation of a link. So I thought, what if I have a browser, take a screenshot of that, and then I can control that with meta tags. I can detect which network that it's capturing from. And I could use HTTP caching to control the lifetime of that image. So that's the longer explanation of it. I'm obviously going to talk a ton more about that as I kind of get this thing more launch ready and launch that thing. But I think the more interesting thing is, how did I build this? And I used Claude Code more than ever. I was actually quite surprised at how good it's gotten. And if you have been on any social media, like Twitter or whatever, it seems to be very quiet, as if everybody's heads down, building all this stuff that they suddenly now can build, that is now feasible to build. And that's what I want to talk about. There's this kind of idea that these machines are just generating slop. And that is absolutely not true unless there's the old adage, garbage in, garbage out. It's true. If you're shoveling slop or garbage into these things, then you're going to get garbage out. But what's awesome about this, and what I discovered, is that if you take your time and use AI to build quality software, you're going to get that in spades. And it kind of makes sense. This is like a revelation I had about this idea called Jevons paradox. I think I'm pronouncing that right. The idea is that if you automate the production of something, say you have a bunch of people building cars by hand, and then they invent machines to build the cars, is there suddenly going to be less demand for cars? No, the opposite happens. The price goes down, more people want cars, and we see demand spike, and more people want that. So I can see the same thing happening for software, and I actually think that if you care about the quality of this stuff, you're going to get some good stuff out of it. And that's what I discovered. As I was building this SaaS, this OpenGraph Plus, there were several problems I ran into that I've always thought were annoying, like pricing and plans tables. Also, magic link authentication. And before I just kind of cobble some stuff together and leave it, and I would never bother to reintegrate it into other projects, but I was able to do that very easily with Claude Code. And I want to talk a bit about the workflow that I had for that, which was mostly cranking on this Rails application. I'm like, hey, I think there's something that could go into this gem that I already have, or something that I could extract into lib and expand on it there. And I did that. So I ended up with a pretty nice library. It's too big now. I got to break it into pieces called Super Feature. And it handles pricing, discounts, plans tables. So you can just pass one price into a view, and then it's going to show you all the discounts and stuff on it. Plans tables, feature limits, all that stuff. I was able to steer Claude Code in a direction that I wanted it to go. It did take a lot of babysitting, and anyway, it cranked out something that is pretty useful, and it didn't just end there. Usually I would extract a gem from a project and not bother to reintegrate it at all into my other applications, but I was able to do that very easily. I'd spin up a Rails application, I'd say, hey, I had this new gem, I updated it, I need you to make an upgrade to this application using this new gem. Here's some notes from the last agent that was integrating this thing. And it would get pretty far, and it can handle small problems like that. And of course I have like 3 or 4 of these projects laying around, so that was the first time where I had multiple agents running at the same time. Fortunately I have 3 displays, so I was able to kind of watch them and intervene, but at kind of the peak, I had, I don't know, like 3 or 4 agents running at the same time, which is, I think, rookie numbers by some people's standards, but I don't care. I was able to extract this quality code out of gems that I knew I wanted to use elsewhere and reintegrate it into projects. So that's pretty useful. I think if you've ever kind of had that feel of, man, I could pull a gem out of this thing, it's pretty easy to do with Claude. Of course, I also used it to create application code, but I found that required a lot of babysitting. And despite that extra babysitting that it required, I still can't imagine going back to a world of just like handwriting all this code. And maybe that's just me. I'm sure there's like different styles of this, but I found even though it's getting very detailed, telling this thing what to write and what to do, it just did such a good job at making these changes across multiple files that maybe it would have taken me, I don't know, tens of minutes or an hour to do it. This thing's able to bang it out in like 30 to 60 seconds. And it's kind of crazy. Whenever you have things that are that easy to do, it kind of changes how you think about problems. So all of a sudden these problems that they're not necessarily hard problems, but they're tedious problems, become easy, and it lowers friction. And I also found that there were some changes that I just told the LLM to do, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to do this. It's going to take forever. It's going to be a pain. And of course, I hand it off to the LLM, and it cranks it out in like, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes. So there's kind of a new mindset that opens up. It's not necessarily automate all the things. I'm actually not a huge fan of that. Like, I know some people customize the bejeebers out of Vim or Emacs or whatever in their editors. I don't like that. I like building stuff. And that's kind of how I'm, I guess, using Claude. I'm really not into the tooling so much as I am, hey, I want to get the stuff done. I want to ship it. The customization aspect just kind of comes along, and I actually go heads down on it and let other people who like configuring tooling figure all that out and then come up for air, I don't know, once a month. There's this idea on social media that if you just leave for a day, you're going to miss something. You won't. Just disconnect for a month and don't get any updates, and then come back up for air and say, hey, what's the thing? What should I try next? And pick like 1 or 2 tools if you want to try this thing out. You don't have to go crazy and try everything all at once. You don't have to spin up 100 agents and try it all at once. Pick something easy. Upgrade a gem and Rails. Refactor something that you just don't want to because you think it's going to be annoying, and you'll be surprised at how far you can get. And just keep trying those things, and if it's useful, great. If it's not, set it down and, I don't know, come back a few days later. I think it took me like, I want to say 6 to 12 months before I finally found out that it was useful. But again, I think the way that we learn how to code and all that stuff has changed forever. The way that we write code has changed forever. I still think that you need to know how to code to make best use of this stuff. You certainly need to know about architecture, and now I find myself thinking higher level thoughts around interfaces, how do these pieces fit together, longer term, who's going to maintain this, how will it be maintained, and it's all like actually very fun stuff. And I feel much better about it. I actually feel more creative about it because I can think about these higher level concepts as opposed to just like banging out these method names and doing this like really low level stuff that I thought I enjoyed a year ago. So sorry if you're tired of hearing about AI. I really shouldn't apologize for it. I'm not sorry. But hopefully you find it useful. And if you're thinking about it, give it a go. If you're not, then I don't know, keep coding. Maybe you'll find it useful one day and maybe you won't.